start the recording. Here we are. Kali Linux is Linux. This is part of the Debian branch of Linux. It's one of the big branches. There's, it's like a tree. There's major branches of Linux. Linux is open source. Everything in this Linux distribution is open source. Distribution is what they call different flavors or different versions of Linux. We're going to bring up our terminal session. We don't even actually need the graphical desktop because everything we're going to do is in the terminal. And you may end up in your future career programming in an environment where you only have the terminal. Wouldn't that be fun? Well, we're not going to update and upgrade. That's something you should do every so often. But we are going to start with what version of Java do we have? Let's see. No, that doesn't work. Just a moment. All right, Java, the Java runtime environment is already installed in all versions of Linux. However, the Java development kit isn't necessarily installed on all versions of Linux. So we're going to find out what version of Java we have. So it'd be Java space dash version. And when we press enter, it's going to say a bunch of stuff. Oh, it's on 23. So we'll download and install the, and you can see it says the runtime environment. Doesn't say anything about the JDK, and well, it does say open JDK, but it's just showing one runtime environment. So we will install the JDK for this, or 23. So sudo apt install. Sudo means we need to run it as a administrator. In Linux, the administrator is called root. You have root access. You may have heard the term rooting an Android phone. That's what it refers to because an Android phone is Linux. APT is the package manager. It manages installing and uninstalling all kinds of programs in Linux. There are different package managers, but with the Debian branch that we're in, they use APT. Install, of course, means we're going to install something. OPEN JDK-17. And oh, by the way, oh no, 23, right? Okay, 23. Everything in Linux is case sensitive. There is not a thing in Linux that's not case sensitive. There, that should work because it says we have the Open JDK, which is an open source version of the Java development of the Java runtime and development environment. And we press enter and we cross our fingers. Oh, it wants my password. There we go. And there it is. It's installing the Open JDK and it's installing some other things that I really don't care about, but we'll go ahead and say yes.
I'm getting something that says waiting for cache lock.
Are you doing sudo?
Huh?
Are you doing sudo? Oh. One of the things we should have done first, go ahead and do a Control C. Control C will break most command line things that you're doing. We forgot to do a part that we should do. Anytime you're installing software on Linux, you should always do an update that synchronizes the package manager on your computer with the package manager in the cloud. So I'm going to do an update. And then I'm going to say yes, once it lets me do my update. Well, maybe it's not going to let me do my update. Oh, it's working. Sometimes antivirus and firewalls don't like you downloading things from Kali. It thinks that it's hacking. It's a hacking tool. Well, Kali Linux is a hacking package. So sometimes antiviruses don't like you downloading updates. I was hoping I didn't have to get into my firewall and do something, but apparently I'm good because my firewall has DNS filtering in it. It doesn't like you going to places that are not good. But apparently it said this was fine. So we're not going to upgrade packages because in my case, I haven't upgraded it since I installed it. 254 packages. Did yours work, Andy? Because the cache issue does not necessarily have to do with update. It may be that you need to restart your computer. again. Now I am going to cursor up because Linux command lines keep a history for like everything I've done on this. So I haven't done very much, have I? Since I installed it, it's stored in my history. So there's my OpenJDK installation. Here I go. It says, are you sure? And there it is. It's installing the JDK. I will say, yes, I'm going to continue. And it shouldn't take too long. And then we can develop things in Java. And you only have to do this once. All right, so now we have it installed. Let's see if it worked. Now Java is how we run programs. Java C compiles Java programs. And so we're seeing if we have the right version of the development kit. And we do 23.0.1. Point 1 means that they must have fixed something. So now I can create and run Java programs. Hooray. Now the next thing it says is create a directory and a subdirectory to hold your Java programs. Well, if you have read through the assignment, you will know that mkdir, and I actually show you how to do it in the next little screenshot, mkdir makes folders. So I'm going to make what kind of a folder am I going to make? Oh, a Java folder. Yep. There's my Java folder. ls is the command that allows you to list folders and files. There it is. There's my Java folder. What else am I doing? Oh, it says create a directory and a subdirectory, but we're not doing a subdirectory. Okay, well, that's interesting. Who wrote this thing? So now I do CD. I'm going to type in capital J because everything in Linux is case sensitive. And if I press the tab key, that will complete it without me having to type everything in. So you may have noticed sometimes if I'm navigating these kinds of things, I type in just a couple, press tab, and I'm there before you can even see what happened. But that's what I'm doing. I'm using what's called tab completion. And in this case, I didn't have to go any further than J because this capital J is the only one. But if I wanted to go to desktop or downloads or documents, I would have to type in at least probably DON or DOC to signify that, oh, I'm going to the documents folder. And then I can tab complete. Press enter. Here I am in my Java folder. There's nobody there. And Mike insists that we need to learn how to use Vim, and he's right. But we're going to use my friend, Mr. Nano, Nano. Now you notice with all this stuff, we're making directories, we're creating files. We didn't have to type in sudo because we're in our home folder. And in our home folder, we are the king or queen. HELLO world.java. That will create or open the file called Hello World Java. If it doesn't exist, it'll create it. If it does exist, you will edit it. Boom. Nano is a text editor. There is no help here. There is no autocomplete or anything like that. So I'm not going to do all the comments and everything, just because this is a demonstration. In a text editor, you have to make sure all your spaces and stuff are right. The recommendation from the Python gurus and the people that make Python is to use 4 spaces when you're moving things over. What you don't want to do is mix spaces and tab. Python 3 will not let you do that. So I start out like I normally would with a public class. And we know that all programming is case sensitive. And when I type in this guy, there's no help. I have to type in everything. But now the next thing needs to be moved over. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Public, static, void, main. Oh, there's some parts of this now that we know what it means, doesn't it? The first time we started here, it's all goopy stuff. But now we know some of it. We don't know everything yet, but we're getting there. Someday you'll know everything. Yeah, I think that will happen. I'm talking about myself. 2, 3, 4. So we know that public is an access specifier. It's a security thing. So the program has to be able to see itself when it's running. So that's why we have public. Static, we haven't covered yet. We do know what void means. Void means that it's a method that does not return anything. We also know that all programs need a main program thing of some sort to run. We also know what this is. This is a string array. And of course, args is arguments. Well, that's as far as we're going to go for today. With that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. SYSTEM dot out dot PRINTLN. And what are we doing? Oh, hello world. Hello world. And there is no squigglies or anything to help you, but there is some color coding in Nano. You know, it's how the public static and the public class are one color, void is another color. I don't know why text strings come out as red, but they do. Now we have everything we need to save and see if this file works. You can Control S just like it would do in any Windows program. These notations down here, this is the little caret pointing up is the control key. So we could do Control O, which means we're writing the file out. In this case, it's like Control O is save as, because then we can change the name of the file, which I don't want to change the name of the file. I'll press enter. So Control S is one step faster. Now Control X down here in the corner allows us to exit. Zip, we're back to the command line. We type in ls, there's our friend, Mr. Hello World. Now, the next thing we're going to do is a Linux command. So cat is short for concatenate, which means looking at or bringing out or putting together text or strings. Everything in Linux is a text file. There is no magic databases of registries and all that. So anytime you want to configure something in Linux, you find a text file to work on. You want to program in Linux, everything is a text file. We know all programming is a text file. So there's a lot of specific commands in Linux, since Linux started in 1970 before we had graphical stuff. Early Unix started in 1970 and Linux is an open source version of it. There's lots of commands in Linux that are specific to doing things with text files. Concat allows us to take a quick look at a text file. So if I type H, do I have to type in anything more? No, because there's only one file with an H. If I press tab, oh, look at all that typing I saved. Unless you like wet solutions, we enjoy typing. I do not enjoy typing. I can type, but I prefer to get things done more quickly. The concatenate command is going to look at that file and it just lets us look at it and see what's in there. Cat doesn't do anything to the file, it just displays it for us. So if you're looking to try to change a configuration, this is true of Raspberry Pis and other things that have a Linux distribution, sometimes you just want to see what's inside the file to figure out what's going on. All right, so I'm going to clear things. So I have a nice screen. Now we get into some arcane looking, if you do this kind of stuff and nobody knows what you're doing, you just have to say, yep, I'm connecting up to the space station. I'm going to take over right now and look at their videos, right? I don't know. This is all Greek. So Java C allows us to compile the Java program into what's called bytecode. Bytecode is zeros and ones, but it's not executable all by itself. We have to have the Java runtime environment to run it. I press enter and all things being equal, oh, look at there, no errors. If there's no errors, everybody's happy. Now, how do we run this? Well, let's do ls and see what happened when we compiled it. Look at there. Hello world.class is the bytecode, the compiled bytecode for this program. in Visual Studio Code, it does that for us automatically and then runs the class file. We don't even see it. If we were to do this from the command line in Windows or any other operating system like Mac, we'd end up with a class file that we have to run separately. So it's good to know how to do these things at the command line. You will run into having to do command line stuff wherever you go. So how you run things in Java, you type in Java and the name of the class file. Now, when you're running a class file with Java, don't type in .class. Java already knows there's supposed to be a .class at the end of it. I know, you'd think you should type in .class, but whoever invented Java decided that wasn't how they wanted it to be done. So we press enter. There it is. I don't know what this picked up Java options thing is that shows up, but hello world worked. And there we are, your first Java program in Linux. Yes, you are now can officially turn on all the cameras in the Department of Defense and see what everybody's doing, or you can hack NIST or whoever you want to hack now, because nobody will know that this isn't hacking, right?